Welcome. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I'm here with you right now. Okay, so I'm going to get started. We're going to be talking about releasing comparison and finding self love. It's going to be a good one. Okay, let me pull up my slides. Doop, doop, doop. Get situated here. Y'all, I am on the wrong page. Okay. Okay, I got it figured out now. All right, so welcome to tonight's session. I, it was been on my mind to go live like all this time, and like I literally was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. Like It's 7:30 at night. It's all right. I decided I was gonna come on ahead and go live anyway. It's gonna be all right. Okay. So whether you're live with me right now, hey, or if you're watching the replay, just drop replay fam down in the bottom. But oh, and I gotta make it quick. Apparently my phone is dying. It's gonna be fine. All the things are going to be fine. Okay. All right. So let's hop into it real quick. Okay. So we're talking about releasing comparison and finding self-love, but I want you to know who you're talking to, or who you're listening to rather. So my name is Kahdija Imari, and I'm the founder of Coco Love. I'm a self-care coach. I have helped 23 people so far, and this is a little bit of my background. Like, I am a recovering people pleaser. Like, I was knee deep into that people pleasing thing. Didn't have very many boundaries. Like, the whole shebang, right? But I prayed and prayed and prayed, and I asked God to show me, like, what is it? Like, what am I doing wrong? Especially in terms of like relationships. I want to be married in the future, all these things. I want to have kids. I want my life to be a certain way. I have these desires in my heart to be for people and for people in my life to be there for me. And it just wasn't working out. And it was because I was people pleasing. Okay. And just letting people run over me. So I prayed, and I truly feel like God gave me these downloads of what self-care is. But at the time, I didn't know that it was self-care. And it all started with, the realization that I was extremely externally focused. And then I decided to get internally focused, right? So I decided to get internally focused, and I had no idea what that was going to be like. But I was like, we gonna try it. We gonna see. She did everything else. Let's try this one. Okay. So that's pretty much how my story started. And I started making all these decisions, internal decisions that were personal to me and all about me. Like, I needed to learn how to value my own voice, how to ask myself first, and stop going and chasing and asking other people for their advice. What about my own advice? What do I want? Like, how do I value my own voice, my own thoughts, right? And it's been a journey. It still is a journey. Like, life is a journey. And what I found is that this whole journey that I've been on, of me finding myself, finding my voice, building up the boundaries that I need, learning how to love on myself, learning how to care for myself a little bit better, like, it is all self-care. Okay, so we're gonna dive into it. And if you don't know, Coco Love stands for courage, confidence, and self-love. And that's for a couple of reasons. One is because I was thinking about who I desire to be in the future, and I realized I'm not that girl yet. I am not that woman. I don't know how I'm going to become that woman, but when I look at her, all I know is she is courageous, she is confident, and she loves herself. She loves the people that are around her. She loves the life that she is living. And so I have made it my mission to figure out the different ways that I can become courageous, confident, and self-loving. And again, like I said, I truly believe and have lived the experience of I can get those things, I can get those results through self-care. All right, so we're going to talk about this thing, and it is I almost said building confidence. Goodness, I just explained what Coco Love means. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. It's late. We're going to get through this, and we're going to get through it before my phone dies. Amen. Okay. Stick with me here. All right. So let me switch back to my slides. All right, perfect. So yes, these are all the things about me. Let's get into it. So when it comes to releasing comparison and finding self-love, I'm gonna let you know that I believe that one thing needs to happen first, and while you're doing the other thing, right, while you're releasing the comparison, you're gonna be on this journey of finding self-love, right? So it one bleeds into the other. And the first thing I want you to know is that you need to notice your triggers, right? Notice your triggers. What does that mean? I'm gonna put it in the context of me. I needed to notice the fact that I'm being triggered by certain things, like the way that I have set my life up. I'm triggered by certain things that I see, certain things that I interact with. They make me feel self-conscious. Why do these things make me feel self-conscious? I might not know just yet. But before you can even get to that part, assessing why it makes you feel self-conscious, like first you need to know, hey, this very specific thing right here, I get self-conscious whenever I come into contact with that thing. That's becoming self-aware. That is you learning more about you and being willing to accept the fact that this is a truth about you, right? You can't solve the problem if you don't know what the problem even is, right? If the answer is 3, but I don't give you at least some of the math equation, how are you going to tell me what the full equation is? Like the correct one, the first time, right? Like there's so many different things that could equal up to 3. There's 10 minus 7. There's 1 plus 2. There's so many different variations, right? So you have to know what the trigger is. You have to know what the trigger is. And there's probably going to be multiple triggers. So for me, I realized that something that I needed to do, I was really feeling down on myself and feeling like I'm not good enough, especially when it comes to like makeup and stuff like that. Like I know I'm wearing a little something right now, but your girl don't always your girl doesn't always wear makeup. You can scroll back through any number of my photos and videos and things like that on Instagram, on the Fanbase app. Like I do not wear makeup all the time. Today is one of those days I just happen to be like, I feel like doing a little something. And so I did, period. Right? And so whenever I would log into Instagram in particular, and I would scroll through my timeline, I would see certain people, I would see certain pages, and I would instantly start feeling self-conscious. I would feel like I'm not good enough. I would feel like, I wish that my eyes looked like her eyes. I wish that, I was able to do my makeup like she did her makeup. I wish that I was able to get my mascara to stay on my eyelashes and stop falling down and giving me raccoon eyes. Like, I wish all these things. I wish that I was a little bit thinner. I wish I was more curvaceous. I wish I had bigger boobs. I wish I had, right? Like, all these things. I was self-conscious. I was comparing myself and what I have in my life to what these people are saying that they have or what they look like they have on social media. Because that's all we know for sure is that they're showing that this is what they have. We don't know if it's actually what they have, right? So I was comparing myself instantaneously. It was bad. Like I would feel so down about myself. Like I would get off of social media feeling like, this is dumb. Like why am I even, what is this? Right? So I had to notice my trigger. All right? I had to notice my trigger. Okay? After you notice your trigger, I want you to reduce your exposure. Reduce your exposure. What did that look like for me? For me, it looked like, okay, now that I know for sure, whenever I open up this Instagram app and I see these certain people, these certain pages, I immediately start feeling like I question myself. It brings back these desires of, ooh, I need to change something about me. I need to do X, I need to do Z. I'm not good enough as I am. That means I need to reduce my exposure to that. Here's why. Because I don't want to not love who I am. I don't desire to dislike different things about me. I desire to love me to the best of my ability. I desire to love as much of me as God naturally gave me. I deserve to appreciate me, and I desire to appreciate me, right? So if I'm looking at things, hearing things, seeing things that make me feel the opposite, I want to nip that in the bud. So I'm going to reduce my exposure. So I did a haul. I think this was, I don't know if I did it like 2 or 3 times. Maybe it was just 1 or 2 times. But I know I've had cycles of doing something like this where I would reduce my exposure. Y'all, that's code for unfollow people. If we're talking about social media specifically, but it might mean something else for you. Like it might not be on social, you might not have that type of temptation on social media, right? It might be at your office, right? Like a coworker. Maybe that might mean that you inform your boss that you would like to move your desk or something like that, or put in a request to have your desk be in a different area of the office, right? Maybe it could be anything, right? Reduce your exposure. You might have to get creative about the solutions that you need to come up with in order to reduce your exposure. For me, all I had to do was hit that unfollow button. But you know what? Hitting that unfollow button was very difficult because there was this conversation going on in my head. I was like, okay, but I don't want them to think that I don't want to see their content, and I do want to see their content. Like they dress so cute and their makeup is so cute, and like like they're so beautiful, and I have this desire to essentially be like them, right? Like I'm attracted to this. I'm so attracted. I don't want to let it go. So it was very difficult. But one day I was like, I'm doing it. Because I don't want to continue to feel how I'm feeling about myself, right? I had to make an active, intentional decision to prioritize my own self-love, right? So during your process of, during your process of reducing your exposure, you're going to have to fight yourself. Like it's more than likely going to be inevitable. The reason that you have this problem to begin with is that your boundaries are low in this area. Your self-esteem is low in this area. You need help. You need reinforcement. And so you are slowly building up that strength to be your own reinforcement. And it's going to take work, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. You have to hold yourself accountable. You have to say, hey, this isn't healthy for me. Stop it. Why would you choose to look at this thing that's making you feel like you're not good enough when you know for a fact that you are good enough? How about you go find some other content creators or business pages or whatever pages you're scrolling on looking at on Instagram? How about you go find some other pages that maybe these people seem to live a life similar to you? That maybe you then begin to see that it is okay for you to live how you live. It's okay. Especially if how you currently live is how you want to live, it's what you identify with. There is not only one way to live in life. There are multiple ways to live in life. Why pigeonhole yourself into believing that there's only one way? And if you're not that way, you're wrong. I'm going to leave that where it's at. Okay? But those are the types of conversations that I had to have within myself. in order to get through this whole process. And on the end of it, it was like, wow, so much time is going by, and I open up this Instagram app, and I don't feel so judged by me. I don't feel so judged by the other people on the other side of the screen. I'm projecting. I no longer feel this way. I feel like, this app is kind of bringing me a sense of, peace, like relief, like just a little laughter, a little like, right? But that was because I had to shift my perspective, and I was only able to shift my perspective once I stopped being triggered. And I had to stop being triggered after I took the time to notice the triggers and reduce my exposure. Now, the next thing we're going to need to do, sorry for the switch back and forth there. We need to assess the incongruencies. Assess the incongruencies. Okay, so what does that mean? I'm looking at oh, hey, Axel. We're noticing the triggers. We are reducing the exposure. And now we're going to assess the incongruencies. Here's what that means. You're on a journey to figuring out what exactly, like specifically, what are you comparing yourself to? Why are you comparing yourself to it? How does it make you feel? Right? What are the things that you see in this other situation that you don't see in your current situation, and therefore you feeling self-conscious? You're like, dang, but if I only had that looks so much better than what I got over here. Comparison. Okay, and as a consequence, you're not feeling like you love your life or you very much. Okay, you are constantly striving for this other thing that you see happening. So when you do the process, what is it? I can't see. The text on my screen is so tiny. Okay, when you do the process, when you notice your trigger and then you reduce your exposure, now it's time to assess the incongruencies. Do you still feel the same things that you just felt a month ago, 3 days ago, right? 6 months ago, however long it takes you to actually reduce your exposure and live in that reduced exposure, right? Like really living in it. Like don't unfollow for 1 day and then go follow them back. That's not it. That is not it. Okay? Give it some time. Reduce the exposure and maintain that reduced exposure. Okay? How then do you feel in the midst of the reduced exposure? Do you still feel that same type of pressure? Do you still feel like, oh, I wish I had their life. I wish I drove their car. I wish I had their body. I wish I had their hair. I wish I had their whatever. Right? If only I, right? Do you still feel the same types of things in the midst of the life that you're living? With whatever you are coming into contact with nowadays, you're still in reduced exposure to the previous triggers, right? Is there anything else in your life that is essentially triggering you to feel the way you felt before? Right? Ooh, I have to sneeze. Excuse me. Right? So, do you feel those same types of triggers? Oh my gosh. Oh, it's coming. Ooh. Ooh. I apologize. Let me drink some. Goodness. I don't know what's up with my nose right now, but I'm going to need it to stop. Okay. Do you still experience some of the same triggers? Do you still feel like, is this thing in front of my face that I feel like I need, or my life isn't great? Do you still feel that way? Do you still feel that there are incongruencies between your life and the life that is essentially being put on display to you, however that's happening, through listening, through hearing, through through listening and hearing, through your eyesight, and through your ears, right? Are there still some incongruencies there? Is there something that is still triggering you? Do you still find yourself longing for other things and essentially not being grateful for the things that you do have in your life currently, for the body you do have, for the hair you do have, for the nails you have, for the jewelry you have, for the whatever it is around you that you do have, for the love that you have, for the family that you have? If you do, you still feel those types of things, right? Assess the incongruencies, okay? And then, if I can get my slides to pop up again. Okay, boom. After we assess the incongruencies, then we're going to make an action plan, okay? We're going to make an action plan. Here's what the action plan is going to look like. If you know that, okay, you've done this whole process, you have acknowledged your triggers, you've noticed them, you've reduced your exposure, you've assessed, goodness, Axel, you've assessed the incongruencies. That really scared the mess out of me. Axel, that scared me. Are you okay? Huh? You are? Okay. Go sit down. Give me one moment. Okay, we're gonna cuddle in a little bit. Let me finish. Okay? I love you. Okay. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm a dog mom. I'm that dog mom. I love my little man, my little actual. Okay, so getting it together. Yes, refocusing. You're gonna make an action plan. So yeah, the action plan, after you figured out all of these things, you've noticed the triggers, you have reduced the exposure, and you have assessed the incongruencies, right? You know exactly what triggered you into feeling like you're not good enough. You know exactly that when you got rid of that trigger, you know exactly how you then started to feel. Did you still feel like there was some incongruencies in your life? Or did you start to learn to love you slowly but surely, right? Even if it's being content with what you do have, right? Excuse me. Excuse me. So even if it started helping you feel content with what you do have, that's wonderful. The plan comes in when you start to intentionally say, I'm going to do more of XYZ thing because it is helping me feel like, okay, I'm loving what I'm doing here. I'm loving how I feel when I do this thing. I'm loving what I look like when I do this thing. I love this about me, right? And so I'm going to intentionally do it more, right? Or I'm going to intentionally go out and buy that thing because I really do feel like that resonates with me. Like I align with that thing. Go buy the for me, combat boots. Give me some combat boots, okay? I need to have a pair of combat boots. So I'm going to go buy some. I'm not saying right now. I already have a pair of combat boots in my closet. But but for me, I need to have a combat boot in my closet or I just might go a little crazy. Like, I need a combat boot. It's one of my go-to shoes. Period. But I needed to figure out, okay, was I following a person who wore combat boots and I thought their style was just so freaking cute, right? And when I got rid of the trigger, did I still feel very compelled toward combat boots, right? If I still feel compelled toward combat boots, I get to make an action plan that says, hey, when you get paid, go get some combat boots. Hey, let's do some research online to figure out which combat boot I might like more. Let's go on a shopping trip to, I think I got my combat boots from DSW this last time. Let's go to DSW and let's look around for all their combat boots. Ooh, my bad. Let's look around at all of their combat boots and figure out which one I want to buy. Let's make this a whole weekend thing or every other week thing, like whatever it needs to be, so that I can get the combat boots that I really like and that I really desire. And so you're bringing that thing from comparison that's killing your self-love into I'm creating a life that I enjoy living in, right? I'm making decisions that is turning my life and turning how I live my life into something that I desire, right? I have that choice. I have to give myself back that power. And you can't give yourself back that power, number one, if you keep giving it away. That's down there with the trigger part. You're giving your power away to somebody else. You're telling them they are so much more worthy than you are. And that is a lie, because you are worthy as well. You are just as worthy as the next person. We are all worthy. We all deserve to feel like we are enjoying living in our skin. We are enjoying the life that we live. Yes, hard times are going to come, but when that season is over and it's a joyous season, we all deserve that. We all deserve that. Point blank, period. Your entire life does not have to be self-hate, self-deprecation, all of this. It's just not true. Okay? It's just not true. So that's the process. Notice your triggers. Reduce your exposure. Assess the incongruencies, and then make an action plan. Okay, real quick, I'm going to go over the housekeeping. There's a few things that I want to be able to invite you to, just in case you are interested in working with me. I would love to have you. Oh my gosh. So there's, today we talked about releasing comparison and finding self-love. So I have a freebie in my link in bio. So I believe I put it down in the description box already. So you can click that link to go to the Coco Love Lifestyle Linktree page, and you'll be able to see the freebie called 27 Ways to Love Yourself. It's an e-guide. You'll be able to get that. Then the self-love cycle. So I am in the process of building a mentorship program called the self-love cycle. So if you are interested in getting on the wait list, I will be creating that link tomorrow and putting it in that same link in bio that's in the description right now. So keep an eye out for that. The self-love cycle, it's gonna be so great. It's literally the process that I have lived and I would describe it as like a 4-step process, but I know I've got to add like other things in there to help you guys like really hone in and get better at it. But I'm super excited to share the self-love cycle because I have literally lived it. Like, oh, there is so much power in like affirming yourself and exploring what you need. And I'm gonna just leave y'all with that. Like, boom. Okay, so that's the self-love cycle. Sign up via the Linktree link down in the description box. And actually I'll probably end up coming back and dropping like the full link in there. But yes, you can sign up via that link to get on the wait list. And last but not least, the Coco Love crew, if you are a woman who desires to be supported on your self-care journey, you know that you need help, you need accountability, you want to get access to all these trainings, we have a vault that I'm uploading training videos to that vault every single week. And there's some lovely ladies in there. I want to invite you to become a founding crew member, right? I want you to become a founding member. I'm looking for 20 ladies to be supported, and we are in there, honey. There's already some ladies in there, and we in there having a good time. Now, what we don't do is we don't bug you every day, all day. That's not, I am an advocate for the self-care, okay? I'm an advocate for getting off the phone, getting off social media, getting off the internet, getting like unplugging. I am an advocate for that. And so in the Coco Love crew, we're not active in there every single day, blowing up, your phone notifications. I actually enjoy that. I know that might sound very different to some people who create a membership, but I really like that. I'm so sorry. If you like that too, then come on into the Coco Love crew. We are inviting all the ladies who want to prioritize their peace and elevate their self-care routines, okay? So that is the Coco Love crew, and that is all I have for you today. Let me pull back. I want you to be able to see my face as the last thing. Hello. Thank you so much for tuning in to this session tonight. It was very impromptu, like I said earlier, but I'm super glad that I came on and was able to help you guys. If you learned something really cool, you got a takeaway, drop it in the comments below. Let me know what exactly stood out to you. If you try these tips, let me know. I want to know what type of results you get. And remember, all of these things don't have to happen in one day. It can be a process, right? You might not even understand how to articulate what exactly specifically what your trigger even is, right? You might think it's something general. Going back to my example, you might think that it's Instagram. It's not it's not the entire Instagram app that was triggering me. It was the people that I was following on Instagram. It was the pages that I was following on Instagram. And it wasn't even all the pages I was following. It was very specific pages that I was following that triggered me into feeling like, oh my gosh, instantly comparing myself to the beauty of these women, to how they live their life, to all of these things, right? And it's okay. Let me just say this. It's okay to feel triggered by things like that. It is okay. It is a normal human experience to see something, think it's absolutely gorgeous and beautiful and lovely, and desire it. That is normal. What I don't want you to do is get caught up in the comparison, because you can get caught up in it and it can just tailspin your whole life. Now, every time you open the Instagram app, that's all you feeling, because you're constantly seeking that other person out, that other thing, that other life that ain't your life. No matter how many times you look at it on the gram, it ain't gonna become your life, honey. I'm just saying. You have to put in some work in your real life in order for your life to change. So if you want your life to change and actually look like some of the things that you have seen that are possible and available to you in this world, you got to do the work. Okay? You got to do the action plan. You got to do all the steps and get to the action plan part. That way you can start wearing your combat boots. You feel me? All right. So I hope that's encouraging to you. Let me know what your takeaway was down in the comment section below. And until next time, I will see y'all. Bye.